is up.
Now it's 1st and goal. Sankey dances, slices, pushes, touchdown, Sankey.
It was a run that put Bishop Sankey on top of the Husky record books, a single-season rushing record, passing Corey Dillon, his 35th career rushing touchdown, also topping Napoleon Kaufman's record of 34. The Huskies coming back from a 7-point halftime deficit to win the 106th Apple Cup, 27-17, the 4th win in the last 5 years for the Dogs in the annual rivalry game. This is the Apple Cup postgame show. Aaron Levine alongside former Husky, a very happy former Husky, Roy Lewis, and former Cougar quarterback Alex Brink. Our Michelle Ludka also at Husky Stadium with post-game reaction coming up. Catches for 41 yards. Let's talk Connor Halliday just a little bit because he has a lot of weapons. I mean, obviously he's going to need to under Leach's sort of air raid attack and spread offense, but he spread it around as well. He had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different receivers today.
Yeah, it's pretty typical of the air raid offense and what Connor Halliday has done all year. And really, up until that interception there late, he had played a real solid ball game and was looking like he was going to be the difference maker here. And you know, I really feel like him as a junior, he's got a bright future ahead of him next year. I think the Cougs getting to 6 wins was great, but you know, next year they got a lot to look forward to, and obviously the bowl game here at the end of the year.
One more question for you, Alex. You're down 3 points. You're down 10. You make it a 3-point deficit. You have the ball. Halliday throws that interception to Ducre. What would you have liked to have seen out of that drive if you're a Coug fan, other than that interception, obviously, that pretty much clinched it for the Huskies?
Well, I think a hard part about the air raid is that, you know, the defense knows you're throwing the football, and where Washington State has been good in the last few games is they've mixed in running the ball, and that's throwing the defense off. I think going to the run early in that drive instead of trying to push it downfield, you know, we were talking about a great play by Ducre for sure, but I think the defense knew that was coming.
Well, we'll have much more reaction from the winning side, the Huskies, Roy Lewis's alma mater, University of Washington, winning the 106th Apple Cup 27-17 over the Washington State Cougars. We'll have much more on Apple Cup postgame show after this.
This thing.
Yeah, Sankey finished with 200 rushing yards. That does not include this 40-yard screen pass right here. Alex, what is your impression of Sankey after watching him today?
Well, he's everything he was cracked up to be going into the game, and they really committed to him in the second half. You know, the first half, they didn't seem to want to give him the ball nearly enough, and in the second half, you know, Sark gave him the ball, and he proved his worth.
It is really impressive stuff. And at the same time, the Cougs, Alex, had a chance in the fourth quarter. They were down by 3 with less than 6 minutes left, and Connor Halliday threw an interception. Kind of take me through that play because they were only down by 3 at that point.
Yeah, you know, that was obviously the turning point in the game. They had an opportunity, you know, decent field position. They got some momentum, got the ball back, and we're going to have a chance to drive. And Connor, you know, just looked like he made a poor throw in all honesty. And you got to give credit to the defender. Ducre made a good play going low and making that catch, but that ball is low and behind him. That was going to be a tough catch for the receiver regardless.
Confidence going into the next season.
Alex, coaching matchup-wise, last year you could have argued that Mike Leach in his first year in the Apple Cup outcoached Steve Sarkisian. Did Sark outcoach Leach in today's game?
You know, I wasn't super impressed with the decision not to kick the field goal late in the game. It was probably a 52-yard that when Connor pumped and ended up going out on downs. I would have liked to see a field goal there. You know, Coach Leach had a pretty good game plan offensively, you know, but Sark, you saw it, like I said, in the second half, he kind of went back to that run game, and that was really the difference. And so to make that adjustment, I think shows that, you know, Coach Sark had the right mentality going here in the Apple Cup.
And you see Connor Halliday a couple of times could have been picked off for 6 points, one by Shaq Thompson that you just saw here. He's also getting sacked. This is the end of the half, and that was a really big play, Alex, because you had a 10-3 lead at that point, but it would have been nice for the Cougs to get some points on the board going into half.
Yeah, I think 3 points there is huge, especially late in the game. You look at that, the score probably would have been 20-20, and Connor's probably not pressing to make that throw, and the ball gets intercepted. So 3 points at the end of half, you know, that was a big turning point also.
Props to the Husky defense. Alex, you're sitting there watching that Sankey 40-yard screen. I mean, what are you thinking at that point?
Well, up to that point, the Washington State defense had played lights out. You know, they were real aggressive in man coverage, had done a nice job on the receivers pressuring Keith Price, and then, you know, again, a good coaching adjustment by Coach Sark and going to the screen game to eliminate that pass rush, and obviously a big play.
Well, let's head out to Husky Stadium. Our Michelle Ludka. We saw a look at some of the all-time Cougar great quarterbacks in Apple Cup history, and Alex Brink wasn't one of them in the network feed. I don't understand why, considering you were 3-1, I believe. You won 3 Apple Cups. So what would you have said to this team going into this game as a 16-point underdog?
Well, I think there's no doubt that they needed to start a little faster than they did, so I would have made sure that was a point. I know Coach Leach made that point probably before the game, but, you know, going into a hostile stadium, they had to protect the football, which they did for the most part, and then, you know, when the game's on the line, the big interception's really the difference. So I think that turnover margin, you know, ended up being big.
Let's take a look at Connor Halliday, because he averaged so many more yards. I need to check the final stats here of how many yards he ended up passing for today, but he was under pressure a lot, including a couple of sacks by Eloy Kikaha, including the one at the end of that first half. If we take a look at the quarterback comparison in this one, Connor Halliday, the Huskies held him to 282 total yards in that game. That is much fewer than his normal averages.
Yeah, you know, they did a good job. They were very physical on the receivers. I thought the Husky secondary did a great job getting in their face. You saw a couple drops early, some incompletions in man coverage, and that really threw off the rhythm of that air raid offense. I think made it tough for the Cougars to move the football.
Roy, what impressed you? Just a second. Let's go back to Bishop Sankey, because he was the MVP of this game by far. I mean, 200 rushing yards in this one, and essentially the Huskies rode him all the way to the victory in the second half.
Yeah, I mean, for me going into this game, you knew that Bishop Sankey was going to get his yards. Washington State gave up 180 yards rushing per game this year, and so, you know, they needed to control him. They didn't, and that was the difference.
And with that up-tempo offense, it seemed like he was trying to fit or find his way in that system, the new up-tempo offense that Sark kind of implemented into this year. What was your take? Because trying to defend a big guy like Austin Seferian-Jenkins is never easy.
Yeah, I think, you know, part of their game plan is to get as many snaps as possible, and, you know, there's a lot of guys out there, and so you can only get the ball to so many guys during a game. ASJ was a big part of their game plan in the middle of the field, creating mismatches. You know, I think, to your point, Roy, he played his role throughout the year, and in this game, he has the first catch of the game. He has the touchdown there to be the difference maker. I think that was huge.
No doubt. He is an NFL caliber tight end. We're going to be seeing him play at the next level. Austin Seferian-Jenkins, the local kid out of Gig Harbor. Let's head back out to Husky Stadium. Michelle Lutka standing by.
Most seniorship.
It's never easy, but he was a senior leader, and you kind of understand now why Sark stayed with Price in the second half. And we were questioning it. I mean, I'll be the first person to admit that I thought that Siler Miles should have gotten a chance to play when Price started the game and struggled. What was your thought?
Yeah, I mean, I think I can appreciate where Sark's coming from, sticking with him, sticking with the senior at home, you know. Turned out to be the difference maker. He made the big plays in the second half, you know, the touchdown to ASJ, pulling the ball, keeping it there at the end to get the last touchdown. But, you know, I really think his experience is what helped late in the game and ultimately a Husky victory.
It's going to be some close games.
Yeah, you got to give a lot of credit to Washington State, right? They came into Husky Stadium, got down early, battled back. I thought that, you know, they were going to pull it off there at the end. You know, you got to give a lot of credit to Coach Leach and his staff. They had their guys ready to play, but just didn't come out with the victory.